Uh, hey people, it's Dragonlordfrodo. It looks like I'm making a lot of these videos today. But, this is going to be the last one for the night. This one's going to be really hard to make. Because, it's a video where I'm essentially going to, come clean on a couple things here. First of all, I want to say that this isn't going to be your typical video ranting and raving. I really want to be honest on this video. I really want people to see this in my perspective. Instead of just me going, Lovejoy's racist, is bullshit, whatever, you know. So I'm going to try to be as honest as I could. I'm going to try to be as truthful as I could. Okay. Now, first off, I just want to say that I'm just going to try to be honest about this, so here it goes. First thing, when I say Lovejoy is racist, okay, what I actually mean is, yes, there is racism in Lovejoy, okay, and yes, Lovejoy is, how should I say this, historically a racist neighborhood, okay, like it's one of those neighborhoods that if you say, like, if you're from, like, Western New York, like, from the Buffalo, New York area, and you say, oh, yeah, I'm from Lovejoy, people automatically assume, people automatically think Lovejoy racism, okay? For example, it is true that when I was in high school, or when I was in school, I should say. Yeah, I guess you'd call it high school. It is true that I used to take the short bus to and from school. Okay, it was that kind of school. Okay, say what you want about it. It was that kind of school. And I did tell one of the bus drivers, bus aides, I should say, that I was moving. When I moved, we were living on Zelmer Street, which, if anyone knows where that is, it's pretty much off Genesee Street. It's not in a really nice area. But we were moving from Zelmer to Lovejoy. And, oh my God, like, right before we moved, I told the bus, one of my bus aides, that I was moving, okay? And I said, and she's like, where are you moving to? I said, we're going to Lovejoy. And yes, this is true. When I said we're moving to Lovejoy, she said, why are you moving there? To get away from the black people? And yeah, I mean, it was wrong for her to say that, and I did report her. And, I mean, back then, too, I kind of had this whole idea that, you know, Lovejoy's racist, the whole thing, you know. And I did have that whole idea already in my head that, yeah. And back then, you know, I had Eugene. Me and Eugene are like the same age. So it was like, I moved out of Zelmer at 14. And then, you know, Eugene was like the same age as me. So, I mean, he's a little older, but not by much. So it was like he would come over a lot. We would hang out. And I felt like me going to Lovejoy would prevent all that because of the racism, you know, like, oh yeah, yeah, Eugene's not gonna be able to come over anymore. He's you know, his dad wouldn't allow it or whatever. Whatever the case may be. But he did come over a couple times in Lovejoy, but it wasn't as much. And I felt like that was a big part of why I didn't like it. So, I mean, yeah, it is historically a racist area. Like, there's a lot of racism going on. But for the most part, I mean, especially like today, I mean, it's like any other part when it comes to it's like any other neighborhood when it comes to racism. I mean, it happens, but it's, for the most part, people are accepted, I guess. I mean, I don't agree with, I really don't agree that it's considered like a real safe area. It just, that I do agree that there's a lot of poor people of any race living there. There's a lot of just a lot of low class people. Like, for example, like if you're poor, okay, it's one thing to be poor, but you know, even if you're poor, you could still like live decently. I mean, you might not have a lot of money, but you know, there's no, like, for example, I don't ever understand this. Like, I notice a lot of like poor people don't like to be clean. I don't get it. It's like, if you're gonna be poor, it's one thing to not have a lot of money or whatever, but there's no excuse for you to not be clean. I mean, your house, I mean, your body. I mean, there's no reason that you have to smell like shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a lot of that. It's just a lot of, I think there's a big difference between poor and just being low class. Okay? Like, just because you're poor, you know, doesn't mean that you have to, you know, be a slob, is what I'm saying, you know. Now, like, there is a lot of that. Now, as I said, Lovejoy, this is me just being 100% honest. No fake shit, no exaggeration. I truly believe that Lovejoy today, okay, it's like any other neighborhood. It has racism. But, you know, black people live here. There's some Muslim people, you know, Spanish. There's not a lot of of Asian people here, but it's a good mix of people, but it's just a mix of like low class people, okay? And so as far as Lovejoy goes, okay, I still want to get out of Lovejoy, okay? I don't think that's ever going to change. Me talking about there's an evil presence here, you know, I don't mean that. I don't really believe in that kind of shit, but I'll be honest, I do exaggerate a lot of shit, okay? Me going off the deep end at every little thing that happens, for example, late mail. I mean, like I tried to explain, it's not about the mail being late. It's about the mail being late in Lovejoy, and it's just something else to pick on. To me, it just sounds like. To me, it's just me hating on Lovejoy even more and more and more and more. And every little thing that happens here, I try to emphasize. Now, yesterday, I forgot to even talk about this on a video, but yesterday, and I swear to God this happened, yesterday, my mail came at like 11:02. I went outside to go for my my counseling appointment. My counseling appointment was at 11:30, so I left the house at like 11 o'clock or so. And I already got my mail. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, that never came that fucking early. And I hope they continue that. I hope they continue doing that, but today, it came a little later, so. But the point is that the late mail is just something that I pick on because it's Lovejoy, and it's just because I hate Lovejoy so much that it's just what I do. I don't like Lovejoy, so I'm just gonna keep picking on it, every little thing. Snow, gonna pick on that because. Again, it's Lovejoy, you know, and like, yeah, I get it that a lot of the side streets in other areas aren't plowed, but it's because it's Lovejoy. I see one fucking snowflake on the fucking street, and I go ape shit just because it's just something else I could just nitpick at, and. Okay, the thing with the penny at 7-Eleven, yeah, I blew that out of proportion. But again, it's just something else that I can nitpick on. And to be honest, I made that whole thing up. Well, I didn't make the whole thing up. She really didn't give me the penny. But I really didn't make a big deal about it in the store, so. It was, but the whole rest of the story was true with the girl in there saying, "Oh, wear a low cut." That's all I kept hearing, right? But the whole thing with the penny, she really didn't give me the penny, but I didn't make a big deal about it. Okay, so I kind of made that up. I made it. I talked about making a big deal about it on video. I didn't actually make a big deal about it in person. But it was just something else that I can bitch about for Lovejoy. Now, why do I hate Lovejoy so much? Well, to be honest, I really don't. It's one of those weird things. I mean, okay, I'll be honest here. It's not the best neighborhood, and it's not safe. It's not really that safe. It's not the best neighborhood. It's not the best neighborhood that if I had a choice, yes, I would go to North Buffalo. I would go to Elmwood Village or like something around there. But Lovejoy itself, I don't know. It's just, I'll be honest, it's just an okay neighborhood. But like I said, I really do want to get out of here. And there is one reason in particular that I want to get out of here about. And that is because of my parents. Okay, I'm going to come clean with this. I really don't want to be living around my parents that much. I really don't want to be living, like, right around where my family is. Okay, and that's not anything against them, really. See, here's the thing. My parents live on their street, right? And there was these two old ladies that lived next door to them at one point. Okay? One of the ladies died, and the other one went to like a home or something. And my parents said, "Hey, we'll buy the house next door to us, and you can move into that house. Pretty much rent-free." And, okay, so a lot of people would jump on that, right? Well, I didn't. And the reason is that, I'll be honest, I really don't want to live right next door to my parents, you know? Like, I'll be honest, the real reason I really want to get out of Lovejoy is simple. It's, oh shit. The simple. I just don't want to live, like around my parents. I don't really want to live within, like, a mile or two of my parents, really. My parents are like any of my family. Like, I don't really want to live around, like, my rich uncle or my parents. We don't get along, okay? So, even if we did get along, I really don't want to live around them too much, you know? And, you know, the second thing is that I really want to move back to North Buffalo because let's be honest, there's a lot more shit to do around there. And, you know, some people in the family will sit there and try to interpret that as, oh, you just want to move back to North Buffalo because there's more restaurants around there. And yeah, it's true, there are more restaurants there. But in the meantime, there's just a lot more stuff to do in general over there. And I don't know. I just feel like I'm just wasting away here. You know, and it is true that if I were to like that data entry job out in like East Amherst or whatever, that I had, it is true that if I lived in North Buffalo, I would still be able to do that. It's all because of like the way the buses run. You know, that's the bottom line. It's all because of the way the buses run, you know? Like it would be a lot more easier to get to that job from North Buffalo than it is to get to and from that job from Lovejoy. And I mean, it was a good job. It paid well. I liked the job. But, I mean, I just couldn't get there. I couldn't work it out enough. And the real reason I quit that job is, here's the real reason. I was just so ashamed of myself. Because when I first started working there, right? Like the first day or something, I noticed that I really couldn't do the schedule that they wanted, because it was they wanted certain hours and certain days. Okay, like everything was like, you can either work this, and this day at this, and this time, or, you know, there was like 3 different, you know, schedules, and you couldn't really deviate from those schedules pretty much. Like, there was like set schedules that, you know, so it was a weird thing like that. And you had to pick one of those schedules. And none of the schedules really worked. I mean, bits and pieces of the schedule worked for me. Like, these 2 days on this day and in this time worked, but and everyone had to work a weekend at this, and it was just so hard. And what happened was they were helpful enough to try to work with me with my schedule, and they did change my schedule up a little bit to make it more accessible for me, but in the end, I just got so ashamed that, like, it wasn't enough that they were doing, and instead of me just going back in there and trying to, you know, fight to work around the schedule that I needed so I can get to work on time and get home at a respectable hour, it really didn't work. Like, I was so ashamed that I was just so ashamed of myself that I didn't look into any of this, and then I'm trying to like, when I got the job, I was so excited to do the job that I was just like, yeah, I'm doing the job, I'm doing it. But the thing is, I didn't actually look into if the schedule was feasible and everything. It was almost like I planned, I was so excited that I just planned it, and I was just so excited to work there, but I didn't really think about it, you know? And I think that's a shame, because that would have been a good job had I been able to get there and back. So I was just so ashamed that these people are nice enough to, you know, change my schedule for me, and I was just like, you know, I can't. I feel like I'm, like, inconveniencing the company by asking for more and more, and I just felt like if I just keep pushing it, that they're going to look down on me or something. So instead, I just kind of quit, because I couldn't. Yeah. So the other thing is that hi, Gravy. The other thing I want to talk about is, yeah, my racism. And before you say anything, I still don't think that I'm racist, per se. I might say, like, some racist things, but for the most part, I don't actually believe I'm racist. like, to me, I believe, like, being racist is, like, it's like being, like, actually believing that I'm superior to somebody, you know? Like, all I do is, like, fucking black jokes and shit, which I do admit are funny. Like, all I do is, like fucking black and, like, fucking, and, like, you know, chink jokes and shit, which I do believe is funny, but I don't really think it's racist, per se. I don't think I'm racist, but I do like to, you know, tell racial humor. I think it's funny sometimes, you know? So, I mean, I think there's a huge difference between, you know, like some stupid fucking black joke and, you know, actually, you know, believing racial ideas like, I'm superior to you because of this. I think there's a huge, huge difference. You know, I think it's a big difference, you know, to do a little bit of teasing once in a while. Even like when I say shit on Facebook, like, oh yeah, the bus driver's black and he forgot to stop at my stop because he's too busy thinking of chicken or something. Even that, I don't really think is, like, racist. I think it might be, I don't know. It's just humor to me. It's just humor. It's just, you know, sometimes you just gotta sit back and laugh at your fucking self. And I do have to apologize to Angelo Mike. And here's another thing. The whole thing where I talk about I'm black because the Moors conquered Italy and the whole bit. Honestly, I don't really believe that. Now, yeah, I make the only reason, the reason I did that was one, it was a funny scene out of a movie. And two, that's where I got the whole thing from. I heard it off of a movie, and then so I looked it up, and it was sort of true. So I just kept repeating it. But the other reason I kept saying it is because, you know, Angelo Mike kept saying so, like, you're racist, the whole thing, and I just felt like it was just like a defense mechanism. Like, oh yeah, well, I can't be racist because I'm black. Because I am kind of Italian. I do have the Italian last name. To be honest, I'm not actually Italian, though. Believe it or not, I might have the last name. I'm actually German and Irish or something. But as far as that goes, I mean, I think I'm like somewhat Italian. But I'm not, like, full Italian. You know, I didn't have any grandparents that, like, spoke Italian and all that. Not that I know of, but... So... I mean... Hi, Gravy. So, I'm putting that to rest. You know, even if, here's the thing, even if the whole thing with the Italians and the Moors and all that, you know, even if that was true, in the end, the black part of me, or whatever the Moors were, Middle Eastern or whatever, they weren't white. We can guarantee that. Even if that was true, it would have been bred out of me so much, and it's probably not even detectable. Because, like I said, I'm not even full-blooded Italian, even though I have an Italian last name. So, I mean, I might be like an 8th Italian or something. I don't even know, but whatever. So So that, and what else? What else do I gotta get to? What else do I gotta get to? Oh, yeah, I called Angelo Mike racist, and again, it was my coping mechanism for him calling me racist, for just over, like, stupid racial jokes. I said the N-word. I called someone on a live stream the N-word. Even if that person wasn't black. Okay, that's a little extreme. I still don't think I'm racist, okay? The whole thing where I think I said something like, you fat N-word or something. You know where I got that from? I got that from Howard Stern. Somebody actually called up the Howard Stern show and said, Artie Lang, you fat N-word. And everyone started laughing. So it was somebody, I got it from somebody that called up Howard Stern and called Artie Lang, who is white, the N-word. And just them saying that, because it was so ridiculous that they said that. It was so fucking funny, and that's where I got it from. So, sometimes I just say, I call my cat the N-word sometimes. You know, because it's funny, and yeah, it's racist, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta laugh at yourself. And the other thing, too, is that not only do I think it's funny, and I think that racial humor is actually a good thing. Okay, it's also note that I really don't like the direction that this country's going with these like far left PC people, where like every little thing that you say has to be offensive to them. Like every little thing that you say is racist or sexist or this phobe or that phobe or this ist or that ist or whatever the hell, you know. People need to start, like, just, this is what I think. People just need to sit back and just, like let it go, like like this whole thing, oh yeah, culture appropriation. If you eat a taco, you're racist. You're stealing some. Like, I think that's fucking stupid. I think it's fucking stupid, okay? And I'm just so against that. Like, okay, you don't wanna be racist, I get it. But this overthinking of every little thing, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And I'm not like one of those far left people. I'm not even a far right person. I'm one of those people that are like more common sense. Believe it or not, I'm more common sense than a lot of people. I mean, if I want to eat if I'm white and I want to eat a fucking taco, well then I'm eating a fucking taco, and I don't give a shit whether or not it offends somebody. Okay? I don't give a shit. And if somebody comes up to me and says, you're a racist, I've never had anyone come up to me and say, you're racist for eating a taco when you're not Mexican. If somebody came up to me and said that, I mean, I don't know. I think I'd fucking punch him in the face. Because I can't stand that shit. I think people should be able to like what they want, eat what they want, whatever. Okay? And enough with the PC bullshit, you know? And I think that's what I'm trying to be like. That's what I'm trying to be like. I don't want to be, I just don't like any of that, you know? I don't like being, like, I don't like the PC crowd, you know? that was like one of the big things that got me in trouble with my friend in Toronto. Like, she was like one of those ultra left people that were very PC, you know. You can't say this and you can't say that. Like, any little thing that I said was scrutinized and whatever. She didn't want me. Like, it got to the point where she never wanted me to comment on her Facebook statuses because she didn't feel like explaining to her, you know, like her, what do you call it, her trans friends or whatever, why she has a non-trans person commenting. I was more like the guy that she like hides away. You know what I'm saying? She like hides me away from everything, like, because she's, I don't know, because like all her friends were, you know, transgender and LGBT, and then I come on and I'm like the straight white guy that's a guy, and she didn't want me to comment because that's just what she actually said. She didn't want me commenting on any of her Facebook shit because she didn't want to explain to her friends who I was. Like, her friends will see me and, I guess, get on her case. Oh, why do you have this traitor as a friend, or something stupid like that? And I just felt like it was kind of disrespectful. But I kind of respected it, and I just did it. Anything we had to talk about, it was done over private message or whatever. But I just thought it was shitty, you know. What else? I'm just trying to be honest here. I want to try to be more honest. I actually think I covered a lot in this video. My space is running out on the video. I only got like a minute left on my phone. So I'm going to have to cut this short. But I'm sure there's going to be other things that come up. Believe me, I'm going to try. I want to really try to reinvent, not reinvent, but I really want to try my hardest to reinvent what I mean and everything else, because I'll be honest, a lot of what I do for videos, I do it up for the videos. The table flipping thing, I don't do that. Like, I wouldn't do that outside of a video. So, a lot of times, like, I'll be honest, a lot of times I work myself up in videos, and that's what happens. Just trying to deliver this content to you kiddies, I work myself up a lot of times, and that's what happens when I do the table flip in, and I'm about to run out of time. This is Dragonlordfrodo, and I approve this message. Thank